Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, YZ.
Yes, sir.
Man, hold up. Congratulations, King, on everything you've done throughout your career and in life, because you are exemplary of manhood.
Man, I appreciate you saying, brother.
Absolutely.
I feel the same about you.
Thank you, man. I'm talking about, like, you've been solid from day one and have been consistent from day one, which lets me know you're the real deal. You're authentic. Man, you know what? But I did not know that your granddaddy was a landlord of prominence in Patterson, New Jersey.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So he was a big landlord owner.
How'd you find that out?
Man, I got to do it. It's called respect.
But how'd you find that out?
Respect, man. I got to do my
Goodness
research.
Gracious, bro, you done brought some. Where you getting your research from? I'm gonna tell you something, bro. It's weird that you say this, because if it wasn't for my grandfather, brother, I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing. When I was just a kid, he would take me around to pick up rent or fix furnaces. And I'm talking about I'm just a little boy. And I often wondered what he was doing when he'd go into places and collected money and stuff like that. And it was just amazing to be a part of that, like a fly on the wall. But he took me like I was still a kid that could sit on his lap.
Right.
But yet he would take me everywhere he went, and he had homes all over Patterson, and they lived in this huge house up on the east side. Yeah,
so
that's crazy. You know I'm gonna be at you about that. Where do you find that? No one's ever asked me that.
Yeah, research, baby. But look, what trips me out is that that had to trip you out, being so young and seeing that much. That's power to see your own bloodline, your grandfather owning all of this stuff. It got to let you know that anything is possible.
Well, I don't necessarily know if I was actually looking at it at that early age from that standpoint. But as I was growing up, I started to appreciate it more, because he didn't have to have me around. He could have just been doing his business. And I mean, he had 2 sons, you know. My father was one of them, but he would take me, and whenever you saw him going to these places, he would take me, and I made it my business to be at that place every weekend and spend time with my grandparents. And whenever he had to go and collect, or if he was doing stuff around the house, he would just have me around. And so I became very fluent in finding the ways to real estate and finding the ways to construction and getting into that field. So for about 7 years, that's all I did in Atlanta when I finally moved there. I wanted to start it in New York, but it just didn't work out. The properties were just too high.
Did you build your own house? Because I know you can build a house from scratch.
I built a house in Lawrenceville. When I first moved to Georgia, we moved to Stone Mountain. And the reason we moved to Stone Mountain is because my cousin's wife was our realtor, and she didn't show my wife any other properties except for properties in Stone Mountain. I didn't see my house until the day that I moved in. What happened was, when he brought it up, I said, hey, I'll send my wife. And so I sent my wife Alice, and she went. I said, whatever house you pick, that's where we're going to live. We'll buy that house. And so she flew out. She spent like 3 or 4 days with my cousin-in-law, and she picked a really cute house, but it was in Stone Mountain. And had I gone, I probably wouldn't have lived in Stone Mountain.
Felt the vibe.
Yeah, because of just the history of it. And but that's all she knew. But by that time, a lot of Caribbean people have been moving, and now Stone Mountain is like little Jamaica, the little Caribbean, really, right now.
But it still has that
stigma.
That stigma, and it was not helped by the fact that 2 youngsters, 2 twin brothers, ended up dead a few months ago, found on top of Stone Mountain, and they still have not identified the culprits.
Yeah. No, and they probably won't.
Yeah.
I mean, Stone Mountain still has that, it's in the blood. It's in the rocks. It's in the blood. It's there. Funny thing is, when you say these things, it reminds me of my neighbors. When we first moved there, Stone Mountain was still very much Stone Mountain. And when we moved there, our neighbors did not like us. I remember one day, some guys came over to my house in the middle of the night. Maybe, when I say middle of the night, I mean 9:30. But they came unannounced. And so when they got to the door, I was like, brothers, please don't ever just come to my house. So I didn't have any shoes on. I walked them out to the car. And by the time we get down the little hill off of my driveway, the police are pulling up right behind. And they said, hey, somebody's complaining about the noise. I said, wait a minute, sir. They just got here they couldn't have been here more than 6-7 minutes. And I was just walking them to their car.
Lying ass.
2 of the guys took off because I guess they knew what was going to go on, because when they flashed a light in their car, they saw that there was an open can of beer in the car across the street. They took off, and they arrested me and one of the other guys in front of my house. They had to let me go, so I stayed overnight. I stayed overnight in jail in Stone Mountain. And then when it finally went to court, they threw it out of court. But, I mean, think about it. I had to pay to get out of jail. I had to, just the inconvenience and then the stress that it put my wife under. It was just, so we had to get out of Stone Mountain. Needless to say, I was there for about 2 years, and then we built a house out in Lawrenceville. So, yes, I did have a house built in Lawrenceville. But I live in the city now. I live in the city of Atlanta. I won't live outside of the city anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Man, let's talk about this drink that you have here. Water Party. Interesting name for a water. Water Party.
Okay, so we really, the guy who designed that for me is the same guy who designed the Gatorade G and and the lightning bolt.
Okay.
He's out of LA, and I just said, hey, if you make me a design, I'll give you a small piece of the company. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you serious? I said, hey, did Gatorade give you a piece of the company? He was like, nah. I said, well, there's the difference. I mean, because we got to look out for each other as young black artists. And they gave him money, but they didn't give him that equity. Mm-hmm. And so, and the guy who introduced me to him, I made him a partner too. And so it's just been fun, man. This has been a mission in itself, because there's actually 6 different flavors. There's 5 sparkling flavors, and then there's a plain. And I figured we would just do plain.
We're doing
today.
the plain.
Yeah, do.
But I like that sparkle. I like the sparkle because sometimes you don't. You want to cheat a little bit, like you want a little flavor, but you don't want to drink water. You
no
just
doubt.
Don't want to drink water. And the sparkling, it makes me feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but it's still kind of healthy, right?
No, I hear you.
I like the sparkle a lot.
Well,
Did you
I
bring
got
some
you.
Sparkles?
You're gonna be on my mailing list. I'm gonna send you. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't talk to you about it anyway, because I saw what you were drinking in here, and we need to stock you up, get you a refrigerator here, and stock you all the way up.
No, that's what Mario had. I was not drinking it. In fact, today was going to be my protest day.
Oh,
I was going to tell Mario today going to be it, man. I'm not drinking no more bottled water that's plastic. I'm not drinking out of plastic anymore.
We have some other products there, and they're in glass.
Yeah.
We have a couple of teas in there that I brought for you. And could you give me that? The teas, the glass bottles. That's an unsweetened. This is you should taste this.
This is all your stuff.
Yeah, well, this is, okay, so look, just so you know, myself and another guy, we own a company called GIB, which is Georgia Independent Beverages.
Okay.
And Georgia Independent Beverages, between the two of us, we have 13 different products.
What?
We have sodas, teas, lemonades. We also have smoothies. We have cold pressed juices. We have waters. We have simple syrups. We have chutneys. We have jellies. We do a whole bunch of stuff. And so this is how it all got started. If you'll notice, everything has this color to it. These are all made from hibiscus. And so we have a 77-acre hibiscus farm where we grow our own hibiscus and we make products from that hibiscus. So it's been, just farm to table, doing a bunch of farmers markets, and growing the company. And I always wanted to do a water. And so when it came up, we just needed a design. We needed something that was going to say culture, because we wanted this to represent the culture. And so far, Red Alert, Jungle Brothers, who else? Ultramagnetic, Chuck D. Everybody's been very, very supportive of the product. And because there are no rappers doing this.
Yeah.
There's no rappers doing this. Not water. I mean, everybody's doing alcohol. And I don't want to sell my people death.
You said, you selling soda? That's death.
Sodas. We have sodas.
Sodas is death.
Well, no,
you got a few quotes? You don't have a few quotes?
No, we don't use everything. We do is all natural. We do all cane. We don't do anything.
Did you bring one of those sodas?
Huh?
Did you bring a soda?
We make real sodas, bro.
Did you bring one?
No, because I didn't know what you drank, brother. And mind you, I'm on a plane.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna ship you a gang of stuff. You can best believe that.
Let me taste one of those.
Yeah, these are all for you, brother.
I'm finna. Family. Here go.
Like unsweetened.
No.
That's an unsweetened tea. That's a sweetened tea.
I go.
All made with cane.
But I do sweeten. I do unsweeten more than sweeten, actually.
Oh, okay.
So,
now,
fam, I'm finna do a taste test.
Shake that up. Now, that's a blueberry.
Taste test right now.
That's
live
a blueberry hibiscus.
Here we go. Live,
lemonade.
baby.
And that hibiscus is grown on our farm.
Okay, all of those commercials where y'all seen people doing taste tests, that shit ain't real. This is real here.
This is real, so I know you're going to tell me the truth.
This is real. No second takes, man. This is it. This is it. Here we go. On H-Town. I can rock with that. And what I like about this right here, right now, is that it's not too cold, because I don't really like drinking cold beverages.
Right.
I like room temperature mostly.
Right.
Or under, slightly above, right?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm digging this. I like this. Now, which one is this?
That's blueberry hibiscus lemonade.
Oh, I could drink this, bro.
And we also do a strawberry hibiscus lemonade. And then we do a bunch of cold press stuff, too. And I'll send you that. The reason I don't want to bring that stuff is because it's cold press. And so it can't stay out of the refrigerator. Yeah. But this can.
And how much sugar is in this one?
Well, if I were you, that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, but if you like unsweetened, I would go with the unsweetened. Now, you realize it's not going to taste like that.
Not going to taste like what? This?
Like, yeah,
I know, it's unsweetened. I got it, man. I know, I got it. I got it.
Know.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Try to unsweeten right quick.
But if you like teas, it gives you all the flavor.
I drink tea daily.
Plus, hibiscus is really good for blood pressure. It levels your blood pressure.
And this is why I would drink to see people. I have to know hibiscus is an acquired taste. And if you are serious about your health, then you will acquire as you taste this.
Yeah.
I can work with that. Yeah. I can do that. I can do
Taste that one. See if you think it's too sweet for you.
I can do that.
Now, that's a sweet hibiscus tea.
The thing about me, though, is that I like to switch it up, so I don't do the same thing all the time.
Okay.
So I would absolutely drink all of this.
Okay, good.
On different days.
Well, we got 13 different products, bro, so we're going to send you a bunch of stuff.
It's not too sweet. And here go the thing. Sometimes you want something a little sweet just to break the monotony, but you don't do it all the time.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Man, I absolutely rock with this, man. Yeah. I like all of this.
Yeah. So under
this is good stuff, man. They're gonna try to buy you out. What you gonna do if they try to buy you out?
No, we're very clear on that right now. we've actually had some approaches already, and we're very big on the idea of Moorish controlled distribution, manufacturing, and we produce our own products, and we want to keep it that way. And so I would prefer give Willie D a small portion of the company and help us push it than to give it away to somebody just for money, because it's not worth that to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's more worth it that we grow together than, you know, somebody says, hey, well, here's $1 billion. We'll, you know, just get off the market. You know, they can shelve you if they want to. They can do whatever they want. And I don't want to do that.
Now, why is that important? Why is having that stance so important?
Well, I just think that for us, I think if we don't start to take our destiny in our own hands and stop giving it away to people, we're going to always be in the same situation. I just came back from Ghana, and I love to see what's happening there. I love to see what's happening in Africa. They said enough is enough. And I'm really hoping that that starts to resonate with the people who built this country. You feel me? I really do. And I really think that enough is enough. And we have enough experience. We have enough creativity and brilliance to be able to handle these things on our own. And so that's where we are with it. And we're not trying to give it away. My partner would say, hey, you know, he thinks a little differently than me, but he understands the importance of it. And so the people that we've been talking to very much look like us, you know, and they talk like us. One of the guys who has my products in the Atlanta airport, he's been in business. He's been in the Atlanta airport for 50 years. But he has done 4 presidential parties at his home. He's a big fundraiser for the parties. And so the reason and not that I'm really a political party person, but for me, I just think that he is the history of Atlanta and beverages and other things too. He owned like 9 different businesses right there in the airport. And then he gave us a chance. And so when I went to him, I was like, bro, you gave me a chance. I have something, and I would give you a piece of this rather than sell it to you, because I know just having you here would make it that much stronger. I stepped to a few people that way. I stepped to a few, because as long as it feels right to me, I do it.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think that we can only spend so much money on wasteful things. You know, look, man, you know, I get it when you ain't never had nothing and you first start getting some money, you want to show off, you want to show people that you got it. I remember when I first started getting money, I stayed with $10,000 in one pocket and $10,000 in the other. I'm walking around, and I would pull it out, because that's what we do in the hood. We pull it out, let them see it, put it in their face. And they go, everybody see it. You know, but then after a while, you start realizing how actually that don't really make a lot of sense for a few reasons. Number one, you know, the showboating and stuff, it kind of gets old. But number two, it's very dangerous, because you got wolves all around you, and everybody ain't got it like that, and they see that, and now they're looking at you like food. So it's just not wise to do that. So you fall back on it. But my thing is that when I get something that I know can span for generations, something that I can own, that I can pass down to my kids, I can put into a trust where it's going to be used as a conduit, you know, for generational wealth.
To come. That's right. That's the way.
I don't need $100 million to spend. You know, you can have $1 billion entity, and if you don't sell, it can become 100 billion. You never know.
Right.
But
And
what's
the
more
truth is,
important?
when you mess with the wrong people, you could be a billionaire today and broke tomorrow
Exactly.
because they'll come and take it.
Yeah, but what's most important? What's most important than the money is ownership.
That's right. The legacy of
Where
it.
you call the shots.
That's right.
You don't have to. You don't have to wait for somebody else to employ you or your people. Or your people don't have to go try to get a job somewhere else. You're creating job opportunities right there for them. It gives you so much more power.
And leverage.
And than just saying I'm one individual and I'm sitting on a whole bunch of money for myself and I got everything I need.
To me, I think that's corny.
That is corny.
Yeah, when you're not thinking about your community, you're not thinking about your people, and you're only thinking about yourself. I try to stay away from that. I try to stay away from people that even think like that, because at the end of the day, it's about us. If we ain't about us, then what we about? We got a very short time on this planet, and what are we going to do while we're here? Really, like, what are we going to do? Like, are we seriously going to just be that person that hoards and hoards and hoards and dies with nothing? Because now, not only do you not have a spirit, you don't have a soul, you ain't taking that money with you, and you're probably going to lose all of that. Just ask Wendy Williams. Just ask Michael Jackson. Just ask Prince. You know? And so if you don't control it, then you have a problem. When we control it, we decide how we move, how we grow, what do we face moving forward, and what the best way to go about it. As a team, we do that. But when someone else is in control, they basically say, hey, boy, you go sit in that corner over there and you wait for me to tell you when to move. And when I say move, do it. And you just ask a bunch of these athletes, you know, who can't do a thing, they got all this money and can't do a thing with it for their people because their contracts say, hey, you can't do such and such. I've actually seen a few of those contracts. I thought it was a farce, but they can't do things. They can't make moves because they have a boss, a hidden entity that says, no way, stop that. You can't go looking out for your folks.
Yeah.
And
I'll give you this money
that.
if you're going to be wasteful with it. I'll give you this money if you're not going to help your people. You could have all, but if I see you trying to help them,
everything.
Oh man, we ain't
I give you everything you want as long as you don't
that's gonna
put
be
it
a problem.
put it to that community. That's right.
That's gonna be a
You
problem.
can go buy as many cars as you want, buy as much houses, as many houses as you want, buy all the drugs and the women that you want. Do all of that, but you help your people, I'm gonna shut you down. You talk out against such and such, I'm gonna shut you down. Well, unlike Kanye, and I have no disrespect for Kanye, but unlike him, when I say no one's gonna shut us down, I mean that because it's us. They can't shut me down. If I get shut down, it's because of me.
Let's talk about your political views, your social political views that you oftentimes wrap inside of your music, right? You have you ever lost someone or something because of your political views?
I would have to say yes. There are a lot of things that I probably have lost because of the things that come out of my mouth and how I feel about certain things. But I realized that was me trying to play their game. And I just decided that I'm going to stop playing their game and play my own. I'll keep my views to myself. And I don't mind sharing views of many. That's what the Black Bank is all about, the views of many. You know, this vault of views, that's what the Black Bank is. And you'll rarely or seldomly see me giving my own viewpoint. I always share others, because if I don't share or help to share it, then somebody might not see it, you know. And I think some things, whether they be funny or whether they be serious, some things need to be said. Some things need to be shared. I did a project. My new album is like that. Like it's just like on that.
Organic.
Organic. That's right.
Organic. Yeah. Organic. More organic. Is that
More-
that is that a
and
play
more-
on the Moors?
Yes, right.
Okay. And it's absolutely organic.
And organic.
Yeah.
Moorish and organic. That's
yeah.
right.
I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole album, but I did hit that play button, and you was firing off, and it had although it had a nice, so the flow was updated, but the nostalgia was that you were actually saying something. Everybody likes nostalgia, but it's like you were saying something.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always been into lyrics. Like I've always, even when listening to artists outside of rappers, like James Taylor is one of my favorite artists of all times. And sometimes people say, "Oh, I didn't know you like blues." I said, "I'm not talking about you. Thinking Johnny Taylor. I'm talking about James Taylor, because the dude know how to write a song. Like he know how to put it in pocket." You mentioned about in an interview I saw once where you talked about there not being a such thing as a black man or a white man. Can you expound on that?
Yeah. The idea of black and white started here. I don't know a white man on the face of this earth, and I've seen many, many dark people, but I don't actually know anybody that's actually black. Here in this country, that was basically a structure that was put in place to be able to separate a rich man's idea from everybody else. And then this rich man not only created this idea, but what he did was he fuzzed up the world and everything in between that to make these people believe that they are actually greater than these people too, because he knew exactly the opposite. He knew exactly the truth. He knew that if I don't shut that down over there, then that's going to be a problem for me. When you have I don't know how far you want me to go on here, so I've been really just trying to hold my mouth a little
hit him
bit.
up upside the head, man.
Okay. When you have embassy members, Israeli embassy members, who are basically saying that their greatest threat is young African American, not African, but African American people, that they are our greatest threat. And then I look at what Israel can do to Palestine. I look at what Israel can do to Iran. And I look at those things very seriously. And they do this all for the sake of taking land that they usurped. When they feel like it at any point, they're going to feel like they can do that here. And I think what's going on right now here in Texas Mexico, and California via Mexico, what I see happening in Texas and in California right now, that's now starting to have this ripple effect across the country, I actually think is a since they can't rile us up, they figure they need to rile somebody up, because they're going to try to, in my opinion, force civil war at any cost. I remember Trump saying something very, very interesting. He said, "Hey, once we get in this time, we figured it out. We figured out how we're going to be able to stay. We figured." I don't know if you heard him saying these things, but when he said this, it made me think. These guys really, really have put together a well-structured plan to be able to not only shut down our government, shut down our money. When there's blood in the streets, buy real estate. Come on. When Ghana's money is doing better than the United States, right? It's growing at a rate much better than the United States. It says that, what are you doing to our country except for burning it down, and burning it down on purpose? So, you got everybody looking at, what's happening in the streets for the immigrants, right? Or illegal immigrants, not just the immigrants, but the illegal immigrants. And who isn't an illegal immigrant here, except for us, right? The Moorish, and which then in turn turned into the Native American.
Well, the Europeans are also illegal immigrants.
Huh?
The Europeans are illegal immigrants. They're not from America.
At all.
You know
That's what I'm saying. So who other than us, the Moorish, I mean, the Moorish, the true Moors, and which in turn became the Native Americans. And the Native Americans became, Mexico, South America, Central America, all of those things. But none of them are from here. They came here with thievery in mind, with killing in mind, and they still have that same mindset today.
What are your thoughts on the Hispanic people or Latinos who are saying that black people are wrong for not joining them in this fight against ICE?
I expect that. But when they felt like they did not need our help, their approach was very different. I remember when, before this election and before the first one, I remember seeing the rallies. I remember that. And people saying, hey, wait a minute, you sure you want to go this route? Because you know the man's a great liar. You know he's a great liar. You know that if you don't watch yourself, he'll turn on you too. And the moment that he turned on them, they decided that we should now join the party. And I don't agree with that. I think you need to find a way to fight your civil war. You'll always have our support because we've always fought for everybody. Everybody benefited from our fight. Civil rights wasn't about just black people in America. It was about everybody. And to be honest with you, everybody benefited 10 times greater than we ever could, including white women. So when I think about it on a whole, of course you're going to always have some African Americans that got to join the party. They're going to go and do what they got to do just because they got to. But I can support from here.
Yeah, they'll join that party before they join the water party. That's cold-blooded.
They will. They'll join it and jump right on in. And I'll have I have nothing against anybody from any other country that's in this country, because that's what this country is about. But when they tell you, hey, there's a way to go about this, then I believe that at this point, if you are part of that system, then you have to follow that system's ways. Because for us, they're arresting little boys on the street, little black boys on the street for nothing, killing little boys on the street for nothing. And I don't hear them making a peep about that. I don't hear any rebellion about that at all. And then now we're talking about not aliens, but illegal aliens. And they expect us to be like, oh, hell no, that ain't gonna work. Not for me. I mean, I feel for them. I think what ICE is doing is totally wrong, but I think it's all a ploy. I think it's a smokescreen for something else. I don't really think it's about the illegal aliens at all. I think it's about something else. But don't expect me to get out there with my pistols and because when we've been fighting all these years, where were you? And they'll say, oh, but we fought with you. That's a lie. That's a lie. I know that's a lie. They know it's a lie, but they'll quickly say, oh, well, we were there on the front lines when you were there. And I'm like thinking, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. Even when I was in Brooklyn fighting with Sonny Carson, I don't remember seeing any of y'all.
There's always been a few, right? But as far as like collectively, like in droves, and like this is the movement, we're part of this movement. It's very obvious if it's there. If you see that, it's going to be very obvious, and that has not been the case. Yeah. I really do believe that Latinos are mad at the wrong people. I think first and foremost, they should be mad at the Latinos who voted for Trump. Secondly, they should be mad at white folks, because white folks got more power in this country than anybody. So
but you see who's joining their party, though, right?
Who's that?
When you look out in the streets, who do you see? You don't see us. You see white folks.
Yeah.
They out there with them.
Yeah. But that's more in opposition to Trump than we love you, brother, my sister.
Thank you.
Because
I'm so glad you said it.
Because when it come down to this whole thing, this political thing, man, the Democrats and the Republicans, man, these guys, they're the same people.
That's right.
They look just alike. You know what I'm saying? Like
they act just alike.
They act alike. They look alike. The biggest difference between the Republicans, many Republicans and Democrats, is that the Republicans are loud and crud, and they'll just tell you straight up that, look, I don't like you. And they say a lot of them, they say really off the wall things, whereas the Democrat is going to smile in your face and stab you in the back. Both of them going to stab you. You're going to feel that knife.
Oh, yeah, for
but
sure.
but the other one is going to smile in your face before he stabs you. So by the time that you realize you're stabbed, it's going to be too late.
Too late.
The other one, he's coming to stab you in the back. He'll stab you in the stomach, in the front. So it just trips me out how every day online, every single day you hear people just fighting about the Democrats and the Republicans.
Nonsense.
And it's the same people. Like
Two sides of the same coin.
when you look at both sides, if you really just look at it, they're fighting for power and money. They're fighting both. If you run as a Democrat or a Republican for a particular seat, that seat wields the same amount of power. It wields the same amount of power, and influence, and it pays the same salary. Which means when I sit in that seat, I got just as much power as a Democrat as this Republican person has.
That's right.
If he sits here, I get to do whatever I want to do within the rules and the guidelines as he could do.
That's right.
And so when you think about all of the atrocities, anything that you don't like in this country, it exists because of both parties. Because everything that has happened either on the Republicans' watch or the Democrats' watch. If it happened on the Democrats' watch, the Republicans watched it happen. If it happens on the Republicans' watch, the Democrats sit back and watch it happen.
That's right.
They can say, well, we didn't have the vote. That's a lie. Hey, man, can I get a insurrection? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Can I get an insurrection? Something, like something. Though, when the Republicans pulled off that insurrection, it seemed like they was the ruling power. Like they were the ruling party. They pretty much do what the hell they want to do, and everybody else have to acquiesce. Right? That's the way I see it. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, I think it's the truth, and I actually think that the parties in itself were set for that very reason. Because you got to always remember that there's somebody above the parties, and those are the people that actually control the laws, and those are the people. I mean, think about it, man. Here in Texas, it's the same, but Georgia is a trip. Georgia's a trip. I mean, because the police officers there, and I'm not necessarily talking about inside of the city of Atlanta, but I expect that to change very soon because gentrification is real. But outside of Atlanta, you got these sundown towns that still exist.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Lake Lanier, which with a black town underwater that's been sitting there for hundreds of years that no one wants to even talk about. And I'm like thinking, bro, this is real out here. Mm-hmm. So we can continue to be in our mind idealistic about what parties do, but you said it. You got one coin, you flip it on this side, you flip it on this side, it's still the same coin. And they're playing the same game. And meanwhile, we are getting played. They're playing the game and we are being played. So you can adhere to, their judgments and their ways and rules, or you can figure out a way to create your own rules, because there is a way to do that. And I just think that before that, they say you have to unplug. You have to unplug first, because while you're plugged into it, I mean, man, things, it's real easy to trigger somebody that's plugged up into that system, because all you got to do is give a little bit of static, and now they're triggered. And social media is really big for that, really good for that. I mean, social media helped a few presidents become president.
True story. Social media
Barack.
and hip hop. Barack, hip hop helped Barack get in.
Yeah, they sure
But
did.
but I didn't. I know people don't like when I say this, but
Go ahead, bro.
I was just disappointed in Barack. I think I was excited when it first happened, and I was holding on for dear life for the second term. I was like, okay, the first term, okay, he just got to get in and get his feet wet, and he got to make, he got to be careful. But then the second year, the second term, like, you ain't got to worry about re-election. Man, go for it, man, go for it, go for it, go for it. And I'm waiting on him to go for it, and people talk about how, well, he did this and he did this and he did this, but he didn't do anything specifically for us. He did do things specifically for Latino community. He did things specifically for
He
homosexuals.
did something for everybody but us.
He did something specifically. I was about to say homosexual, but he did do something specifically for the LGBTQ community. He specifically did things for the rich. He did things, you know what I'm saying, for particular groups. He did things for the Indians. He did things for particular groups. But when it came to black folks, it was like, well, like Kamala Harris said, well, I'm not going to be the president. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to be the president just for black people. It's like, we're not asking you to be the president for black people. We're asking you to recognize that we have a unique position, a unique plight in this country, and we have been underserved, and we have given more than any single group that has ever come here.
And that's why we're gonna be
and we still have not had an equal share or an equal footing. We're asking for our cut of this American pie, and we're not getting it. And if you get it, and if you complain, if you call out somebody who you elected to get you that, because they're underperforming, the first thing that the other people that support that person do is want to attack you. Oh, you gonna make people want to vote for him? You gonna make if you look at the other side, when Trump is not acting accordingly, they hold his feet to the fire, and then he gets back on track and he gives them what they want. But we don't do that, and we wonder why. It is that we keep going through the same thing over and over again.
The same repetitious, vicious cycle. It's never going to stop until we decide to stop playing the game. We got to stop playing the game, because they're playing us hard.
Does stop playing the game mean stop voting, or does it mean get a new party?
I think stop playing the game means that we need to be better organized. We need to be able to come together and say, this is what we want, this is how we need to go about getting it. And whether we vote, don't vote, whatever, as long as somebody is in that office and we're paying taxes, there has to be some sort of, in their terms, it would be lobbying. There's nobody lobbying for us, and we're not lobbying for us. No one else is going to do it.
See, I saw something this last election cycle that really, really just hammered home what you just said, man. The Harris County Democratic Party, they did some Democratic black judges here dirty. So they had a few black judges who were part of it was 19 black female judges that ran for office a few years back, and all of them won their seats. Well, they tried to change that, and the goal was to unseat them. So Republicans was filing all kind of frivolous paperwork trying to get rid of them on the merit of on the basis of them not having the proper credentials. Now, keep in mind, some of them were already sitting judges before they won the previous election. But all kinds of things, just throwing anything against the wall to try to make it stick, to try to get rid of them, to try to beat them before the voting process even took place. It's like we're trying to get you out. And the Harris County Democratic Party sat on their hands. They sat on their hands, and they allowed them women to fend for themselves. And only when they got called out would they speak on it. So that told me that these Democratic parties, the committees and all of this stuff, they only exist to keep black people in line and to keep the status quo going. These people, they did not support. They did not put their muscle behind those women and say, wait a minute, we won those seats fair and square. They didn't come out and drove like we gonna shut this shit down. They just sat back and they just
that's right. Because
they realized that these particular women are not part of the status quo. You're not gonna be able to control them. So they're in their minds, the way they think, if we can't control this black person, well, we'd rather have a white person in there from the other party.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We want control.
That's it.
So if we can't control the black person that's in here, we love to have, it don't matter if we have a black person or white person, as long as we can control them and they're part of the game, right? And they're on the same team. But if we can't control them, we'd rather have a white person from the other side in that seat.
See, that's right.
That's how they get down. And when people learn that piece right there, they're going to be on to something.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, hopefully they'll hear you speaking right now, because that's the game. Hook, line, and sinker, that's the game.
Yeah.
Control. I mean, whether it be religion, whether it be politics, come on, the medical field, schools, everything is about control. Control how people think, control what they put in their bodies. Man, the Food and Drug Administration, like, hey, I'll be in trouble talking. So, I got to really watch my mouth, because, you got these mega companies who come after certain folks. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to plant seeds elsewhere.
Right. I think Ghana is a good place to start. Now, here goes the cold part about Ghana. I don't know if you saw this, but recently, Trump, somebody put out some information out there that whereas they're saying that Trump has put Ghana on a list of places not to travel. They're going to ban
23 more
and other African countries. So all of a sudden that they start seeing this movement, this shift happening, where there's an influx of black people coming from all over the world coming to Africa to help build, and now they say, you know what, we're going to stop that, and we're going to just stop them from traveling. So every dirty, low-down thing they've ever done, they've always used the law. They just write it into law. They make it a law. They weaponize the law to make people mind, to put people in line. So, they're going over there. How can we stop them from going over there? How can we stop them from building? How can we stop them from growing? Well, let's just put a travel ban on them.
That's right. Man, think about it this way. If they can weaponize our women, man, they can weaponize anything. Social media is a weapon without question. It's a weapon. It's a way to keep people here while all of this is happening here. And it's happening right under your nose. And you're so into this nonsense that you can't even smell the smoke.
Man, how did you get so wise? You started in 17. You started your own production company with your buddy Tony D.
I did.
Was that Tony D?
Yeah, with Tony
Okay,
D,
yeah.
that's right.
So young. I'm talking about youngster.
Yeah, we
17.
Were just
Do you think that's like an inherited from your granddad or something?
It has to be, bro. I mean, he showed me that you can do it. You can do it. Like you can be the master of your own destiny. You can do it. And I didn't realize those lessons when I was with him. But somehow he instilled something in me that made me believe that I can do it too. If my grandfather could do it, I could do it too.
When you wrote Master Plan, right? Did you ever at any point feel any pressure to make that come to fruition? Because now everybody knows you as the guy who's thinking of a master plan. Like, anybody ever come to you and say, YZ, what's the plan? No?
Well, to be honest with you, if they come to me, I'll be able to tell you very easily what the plan is. I think that I got very lucky. I was around great brothers who, were thinkers. And, we ain't afraid to speak what's on our mind. I think that in hindsight, even though Master Plan, I won't, wise intelligence told me to stop doing this, so I'm going to stop doing this. But I think it was very prophetic in some ways. And I was just happy to be the conduit to get it out there. I was, I look back on it now. There was a time when I didn't think much about it at all. But when I look back on it now, I'm very, very humbled of the fact that those words came out of my soul, me. And so if those words can come out of my soul at 17, man, people have the world at their fingertips right now. There's so much you can be learning right now. There's so much, and I think almost that might be the problem. Like, it's just too much. Like, there's no focus anymore, And I think that back then, you could hone in on something and pinpoint where the issues are. But the problems now are so many. They're so vast. And they're everywhere. They're next door. They're right behind you. They're in front of you. You can't go anywhere. People, we don't trust our women anymore. The women don't trust us. I mean, if y'all don't really see that that's a game, a play on you, that's genocide happening right in front of your face. And you're allowing it to happen over clicks? Over clicks, really? And likes? Really? Genocide, really? I mean, somewhere, somebody, and it's probably going to be a young person, because the young listen to the young, right? But somewhere, somebody's going to have to say, hold up, wait a minute. What are we doing here? Are we really going to let this liberation thing, this quote-unquote liberation movement totally destroy our being? We're going to be out of here. Look what's happening to Italy right now. Italy's about to be extinct, bro. Literally, there are villages in Italy that people don't even live anymore. You go there, and of course, you got the Vatican, you got Rome, and all these other things, and the Vatican is its own city in itself. But that's going to be us if we're not careful. And so I went to Ghana because I wanted to see, I really expected to just see just us. You feel me?
You saw something different.
I was hoping to see just us.
Right.
And I was hoping to see justice in just us. But you go there, and just like gentrification, my neighborhood, just right now, you start to see such and such running with the baby, or such and such running. And when I went there, that was the thing that bothered me the most. They have this area where there's a bunch of embassies around there. And in that area, bro, is gentrification personified. It's happening. And so if we don't move quickly, man, if they can do it to Harlem, they can do it to Brooklyn. Brooklyn. You don't think that they can do it to these places? Knowing that that's where all the riches are.
Have you been following what's going on in Burkina Faso?
Oh, heck yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they know the way. And we probably all need to be paying very close attention. But how can I put this? The killers are real. And so they're gonna have to always have some great protection happening over there for the brother, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a conversation I think we need to have, you know, amongst us. But I feel for that situation because it's the same cycle, isn't it? They do it to all of the leaders. They did it here, they do it there. They've been doing it there for longer than they've been doing it here. And that's how they took control over there. And I just think finally somebody said enough is enough. And I think it's created enough spark in enough countries to say, hey, wait a minute, we've been doing what? I mean, look at, we just talked about Ghana. What's happening in Ghana is unbelievable, bro. I mean, we knew the riches were already there, right? But see, when you start to look at the market, when the market starts to shift, that's when you got to really say, hold up, wait a minute, somebody's really paying attention here. Because when the market shifts, somebody's in control of that. All that gold is going to Antwerp. They still trying to stop us from getting a part of that and being, you know, our own stable amongst this whole conglomerate of things. They want to control that. But I think what's happening in Ghana, the politicians there, they scare me just a little bit because most politicians do. But where the soldiers are, that's where I think the strength lies. The soldiers. Politicians, they think of one way, and soldiers that work under politicians think similar to the politicians because they just follow suit. But soldiers who think outside the box, I think that that's the strength. Those are the people we need to be paying close attention to. Those are the people that really are showing us how to become independent and strong. And if we can't support that, but what we can support all of this nonsense that's happening in other places, including here, then we got issues, man. But I think those issues will soon, as they say, dissipate. They'll go away because brothers like you know, I've been checking you. You know, I see you do your research on me, but I've been checking you, bro. And for a long time now, you've been striking those matches and sparking those flames. And it's so needed right now because meanwhile, on other channels, people are just talking nonsense. The same old regurgitation of bullshit over and over and over and over again. And so I tip my hat to you. To me, this is where I needed to be. This is where I needed to be because I knew the conversation would be where it needs to be, not where they want this to be or what they hope it to be, but where it needs to be, you know, because we truly care about our folks. Sometimes I don't know if I believe that a lot of the people that are the quote-unquote faces of these things, I don't think that they really care one way or the other, as long as it's lining their pockets. As long as it's lining their pockets, they're not thinking about our future. They're not thinking about what's happening to our youth right now. I mean, that's where the focus should be, because they soon to die out. Hey, in slavery, you know what they did? when I went over there, I found out at the Elmina Castle, what they did was they would take the best of the litter, and that's who would get traded. Meanwhile, all of the elders would have to stay, and all of the very young infants and toddlers would have to stay. So now you got the elders trying to raise these toddlers. Meanwhile, their mothers and fathers are off on the ocean somewhere and headed somewhere they don't even know where they're headed or what they're headed for or what they're looking into. And so when I look at this now, I think the same type of separation is happening right now, right amongst us. But now you convince women that they don't need men anymore.
And you convince men that they don't need women.
They convince, it's unbelievable, bro. And without each other, we're at a loss.
Yeah, we're absolutely a unit.
We're at a loss.
Yeah.
And so that should be the fundamentals. The fundamentals of our being lies right there. Look how simple that is. But they created this mayhem in the simplest of places. And for us, it means total destruction, at least here. So if you want to live, you better go somewhere else where it's vibrant and happening.
I think you hit the nail on the head about going somewhere that's vibrant and where it's happening. But I think that the caveat is that many of these places that would be attractive to us cannot really protect us from the beast. Like if something was to really go down, we know America got a history of being a hater. We know when it comes to black folks doing it, and they love to talk about, America likes to create chaos and play the victim, right? Or they try to swoop in and play the hero. So it's like, you can go back with so many different things that they've done, but they like to create the chaos and then either play the hero or the victim, and at the same time tell the people that's being oppressed that it's their fault.
That's right.
That they're in the condition that they're in.
That's right.
Because look here, this person made it, that person made it, and this person. Now, why couldn't you do it? It's because you allowed him
for his bruises.
Yeah. So we know that America is the greatest haters. Is the greatest hater on earth. It's the greatest hating ass country on the planet, because every time we've done it, because we have actual examples of actually building ourselves up, picking ourselves up by the bootstraps and making something of ourselves and being self-governed, owning our own banks, our own schools, our own hospitals, being totally self-sufficient, independent.
That's right.
Having complete autonomy over our own plight. But what they do, I don't like that.
No.
Because for some people, if they think that black people are doing good in their mind, they can't be doing that good. If the black people are happy, they got to be sad. So what are they smiling for? What are they laughing for? Why are they, listen, I'll come take it. Let's take it. So
I think
my
also
thing,
they realize that without us, those inventions, that creativity is gone. Without us, the melanin is gone.
Yeah, but they understand that. That's why they keep us around. See, it's like can't live with you, can't live without you, right? So, but the point that I want to make is there is no African nation that can fend off a formidable attack from any of the nations, the big nations like United States, China, Russia.
Agree.
You got to be able to, and that is sad for a continent that is so rich in history, and also being the epicenter for civilization. That is where it started, right? To not be able to defend your people, like from a United States type of attack, because imagine somebody. A lot of people around the world are mad at Trump. A lot of leaders do not like Trump. Mm-hmm. But imagine them coming over here trying to harm Trump. Ain't gonna happen. No. You can't even fathom something like that happen. But America is so cocky, we oftentimes fantasize about going over there hurting somebody else's leader.
Come on, they do it.
Replacing somebody else's leader and actually doing it. And that is because America got these nukes. They got these nukes, they got these drones, they got these helicopters, they got these warships and tanks, and and if you ain't got the capability to bully a bully, you're gonna get bullied. So you got to be able to defend yourself. You got to be able to defend your people.
That's right.
Growing up in my neighborhood, you could have money, but if you couldn't defend yourself, if you couldn't defend that money, you get that money taken. Right. And the only way that you would be allowed to have that money is if you were helping the people. So if you're helping the people, then you could get somebody to back you up that had the power to keep the bullies at bay. And I don't know if there's an African country that has the power or that has somebody that can back them up to keep the bullies at bay. And I know that they don't have those war pieces.
Well, what it is they don't have the allies, man. Think about it this way. Israel is on African soil, whether they want to try to call it Middle East or whatever they want to call it. But Israel truly is not fighting its own battle. They got us. They got allies. The reason Africa doesn't have those same type of allies is because everybody that came there came there to steal. They came there to take.
Right.
I think, in my opinion, Africa's strength is in its numbers, and I believe that we need to start to look at Western Africa and even like Southern Africa, and some portions of even Eastern Africa, and if we can continue to almost treat Africa, I hate to use this as one country because they are separate and they're vast in their own right, but I actually believe that the strength of Africa lies on Africa becoming one Africa. Different countries coming together and saying, hey, this is what we need to do going forward. This is how we need to handle this, because it's happening on small scales. We can use an example here. It's very simple to infiltrate a man. If a man is by himself, you can give him trinkets, you can give him money, you can give him drugs and women, and sooner or later he will lose himself in it. And I think that with most of these countries in the past, the politicians have played that game. They've allowed themselves to line their pockets up instead of looking at their riches as being their people and their own resources as the true strength. And I think now enough young people have grown up and said, we got to do this a different way, because if we keep doing it like they did it, we're going to end up exactly where they were. And so I think that that's the greatest fear of the world. I heard another Israeli say this. He said, for us to continue to thrive, we have to keep Africa exactly where they are. We have to keep them thinking like they think. The moment that they stop thinking like we want them to think, we're done. And I believe that's true. I believe that wholeheartedly. The moment that Africa decides that, hey, wait a minute, the strength is in all of us together. Ghana said it. They said, hey, man, all those people, because think about this. I believe, and I hate to say this out loud, Ghana back during the slave trade was part of the issue. Those slaves weren't coming from Ghana. They would come from other places, and they were stopped in Ghana and then shipped from Ghana. Somebody there had to do the work. You get me? And so I believe that them reaching out to the people here was a way to say, hey, please forgive us for our wrongdoing. There's a place for you here if you want it. Come grab this because it's here. And not only that, you can help us to get that independent drive that you have, that you fought over there with nothing. Because we fought with nothing and became our own strength. And every time, like you said, every time we become our own strength, they figure out a way to bomb it, kill it off, destroy it by all means, by any means. And the only way that we can truly survive here is I got to be able to grab Willie D by the hands and keep my hands on him at all times and make sure that he's safe at all times. Because if he's safe at all times, it means I'm safe too. I'm safe too. And I think Africa has to take that approach. I honestly do. I think Africa, they're the greatest strength, but they got to realize that they're the greatest strength. They can't keep allowing outsiders to come into their place and take over. So when you find countries that are saying enough is enough, hey, you got to get out of here, we'll handle our own. I think that's a first step in the right direction, in my opinion.
What was the first step in the right direction when you started Diversity Records? Which you were part owner of Diversity
50%
Records,
of
right?
it.
Let me go back, man, because I don't think people understand this. Bro, you were 17 years old, man.
Yeah.
17 years old. We're talking, what was that, 89? What's that, 90? 92?
No, this is like
what year
86,
was that?
87.
87.
86,
Okay,
87.
get my
I was
dates
still in
mixed up.
school. I was still in school.
Damn, bro. Like, so you first of all, when that record when Diversity Records first started.
Yeah. That's what we recorded Thinking of a Master Plan first as a B-side.
Yeah.
In Control of Things was the first record, which I actually wrote with Bobby.
Okay.
With B-Fon.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you dropped that, and then now it looked like everything is looking up, and then you run into an issue. You and Tony D fall out.
Okay, I'm gonna put it all out there. Okay, we can just clear the air because Wise, Intelligent, and Culture Freedom and I are very close now. Actually, Wise and I do business together, and I'm very supportive of what Culture's doing. You know, he's a magnificent chef in Tennessee doing his thing with his wife, and we just support each other. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is good, man. This stuff is good, man. I'm telling y'all for real, man. I ain't gonna lie to you and make it sound fly to you. This is good.
And that's Pride Road Tea.
Pride Road.
We're actually right now, I'm going to go back into what you just mentioned, but since you brought this up, what we're trying to do now is a nationwide pre-order for that tea. Whether it be, and we do box teas too, like tea leaves. Mm-hmm. And so we do bag tea. But
do you get this flavor?
Yes, no, it's a hibiscus. It's hibiscus. We do 3 different types. We do regular hibiscus, we do hibiscus lemongrass, and then we do orange mint hibiscus too in boxes. Okay, so what we're trying to do right now is a mass pre-order of bottled tea along with, and I don't mean the lemonade, I mean the tea. And if we can get a mass order from just across the country right now, it will solidify our place in the game. We're not going to go anywhere anyway, but if we can do this the right way, what it'll do is, like we're talking about Africa's independence, it will become our true independence. And now we have a force that now we can bring in droves of our own to work in different cities, because we're already looking at different cities now and trying to teach other farmers to grow what we're growing, because most of hibiscus comes from other places. It comes from Nigeria. It comes, and the funny thing is they they grow it in Nigeria and then they send it off to Egypt and then it's sent here, you know. So independence is where it's at for me. It's always been that, and I think that that's just a segue into what you were talking about. When I first started out with Tony D, Tony was a producer. He didn't want to do business. But I was like, bro, you're sitting on something here. I'm not just a kid, but I recognize that we can do something with this. He was like, oh yeah, I guess we'll start Two Tone Productions. I was like, absolutely, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna start Two Tone Productions. And he was just being funny because of our complexions and then our names. But we got in a car, we went down to City Hall and started Two Tone Productions. Shortly thereafter, I had a record out that was being played every weekend, because remember back in the days it was strictly mixed show. But every weekend in Philadelphia, they were bumping us. And Diversity was a new fledgling label that didn't have any real strength. And when he came to me, I just used leverage. Leverage is everything. I say, hey, bro, I'll do this business with you, but if for me to do this, I need half your label. At first he laughed. He thought it was funny, like I was joking. He went away. And then after hearing my name coming up over and over and over again, I got a call back from him saying, hey, I want to sit with you and talk about this. And I acquired 50% of Diversity Records, and Tony didn't like it. He never said anything to me.
So Tony was cool with you being a worker, but the moment you became a boss, is that what you're saying?
Tony was cool with me being
on his
in
level.
Business with him and only him. And think about it, Tony was producing all kinds of stuff. I wasn't in the way of that. I was thinking, great, do it. Yeah. Poor Righteous Teacher's first album came out under Two Tone Productions. Now, I could have made a big stink over that. Think about that. I could have made a big stink over that, because 50% of Two Tone Productions was mine.
You never got paid off that?
I didn't want to get paid from it. Think about it. We signed Poor Righteous Teachers to that first deal.
Right.
When they came for a release, I thought it was kind of funny, because why are you coming for a release right now? It had to be Tony. And my inclinations were correct, and I didn't really find that out until the past few years when Culture and I talk, or when Wise and I talk, especially Culture, because Culture lay it all on the line. He'll tell you how it is. And Tony wasn't being very favorable about us. And that's how that little beef between Poor Righteous Teachers and YZ started. But can you imagine now? I said this to Wise. I said, can you imagine what it would have been if YZ and Poor Righteous Teachers had stuck together? We had everything on lock. Mm-hmm. And Tony, he couldn't stand it. It was eating at him. He didn't like it at all. And it didn't matter that he was producing other people and I wasn't giving him flack for it or whatever. It didn't matter. I mean, I just think certain people they got to be in control of stuff. They got to have it to themselves. He did not like it.
Do you think things would have been different if you would have went to him and said, hey, man, look, I'm finna make a play to get a piece of this company. You want to go in with me?
Well, I'm going to say this. I had already had the company when I stepped to them. They signed to Diversity. You get it?
Okay.
We brought them over to Diversity. They signed to Diversity. Then Tony, what he did was... So
Poor Righteous Teachers signed to your label.
Their first deal that they signed was to Diversity Records.
And then they went and did a record with Tony. And
no, Tony was going to produce their stuff regardless.
Right.
He was going to produce their stuff regardless. I mean, think about it. Tony we're partners, so anything I'm involved in, he's the producer. We're going to make sure that happens. He was going to produce their stuff anyway. That wasn't never going to not change. That we still would have had Rock This Funky Joint. We still would have had all these other records. We still would have got that. Tony didn't like the fact that I was partners with Tim with another company, but it was a record company. It wasn't a production company. This production company was us. This record company was Timmy and I. He didn't like it. And he convinced them, and come on, we're just kids. He convinced them that Timmy was the bad guy, and because YZ's fooling with Timmy, he must be the bad guy too. But we would ride, and YZ, you bring him on the show so he can tell you. We would ride around Trenton, and I remember when they started dissing us on records, and then I did Disfilire, which became Crocodile Dundee. Bobby and I went to them when we remixed Crocodile Dundee, which Tony produced, along with every record that they did, right, for their first album, right? We went to them first. I said, look, man, before you get this from anybody else, I want you to hear it from me. Culture didn't like it. He was real upset with me when it happened. But this is years ago, before the record even came out. But I wanted to be straightforward with them because I didn't really like what was going on at the time. But here it is. I'm playing right in with it. And I was trying to figure out a way to get out of this, to keep the momentum between us going. But it was just too late. It wasn't going to happen. And I guess things happen when they're supposed to, because we're the best of friends now. You know, we talk all the time. We do business together. I don't know if Wise want us. You know, I even remember I said I'm big on giving stuff away to people that deserve it. Wise very much is a part of GIB too. A very small part of it, but he's a part of it. And he deserves to be. And I'll talk to you later about some things too, because I think some of us just deserve to be at the table. Some of us just don't. But people who think alike need to be at the same table. Think similarly. They don't have to think exactly alike. Just have a similar goal. Do we have similar goals in mind? Like, what are you really thinking about? Are you just thinking about you, or are you thinking about your true community? And there's a few of us that really are looking at our community, and Wise is one of those persons.
Yeah. So you got the Diddy trial going on. And whole bunch of testimonies is flying around, and witness after witness after witness is stepping up and telling people everything they know about Diddy. Let's pretend that your microphone was a witness. Your microphone is a witness in a courtroom, and your microphone is testifying against you. What would your microphone tell people about you to try to either help or hurt you?
To be honest with you, I don't think that anybody on the face of this earth is without a blemish. Trial and error is within all of us. I am not perfect by any means. But my intention is always in the right place. My intention is always in the right place. I never go into anything with the idea that I want to harm other people in the process. I believe in strength in numbers. I believe that if we reach out to enough of the right people, that we can create a shift that's going to be helpful for the whole. I think that the problem with a lot of things that happen with me is, and people say it's, Wise tells me, I think I put my humility before everything. And I think this is something I need to work through, that I got to realize that in order to truly become a king, you have to really leave certain things alone completely. And you have to be able to surround yourself with other kings who, like I said, they don't necessarily have to think exactly like you, but they damn sure better be able to stimulate you, and you damn sure better be able to stimulate them. And so I'm hoping that if my mic had anything to say about me, that even though I am not by any stretch of the word perfect, that my testimony is that I care about my people, and I care about where we're going, and I care about the future. And I hate to see us throw our future away over frivolous, petty little things. And so I make it my business to strike against that in my own way. And this is my way. This is my way. This is my way of saying I can quietly go over in my little corner and figure out a way to help everybody. I can quietly go to a little corner of the world. It's funny, I wish you were on this trip, and I almost wish I can be there when you're there, because first thing I thought about is, man, there's so many merchants in the streets everywhere you go. And there is this hierarchy that's happening there too, just like here. But the hierarchy isn't really trying to open up the window for the streets. The same thing happens here. So I was like thinking, well, look, I might not be able to do it in America, but I damn sure can do it here, because it's still developing. It's still a fledgling place, a fledgling baby waiting to be hatched, waiting to be born. And I want to be a part of that. I want my name to be etched in stone on that wall. I want to be a part of that. I may not ever be able to be etched in stone on this wall here, and I don't even know if I want to be, because I just think that our blood went into those bricks, and they still don't respect it. Our babies went into those bricks. Our mothers and fathers and ancestors went into those bricks, and they still won't respect it. I play my own lane. I don't need your respect anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, excuse my French and pardon my vernacular, but fuck them. You know, like, look, man, look, it is what it is. We're not going to downplay our role in this country because they won't respect it. We're not going to downplay our role. We're not going to take away from none of our accolades, none of our contributions. If they don't want to respect it, they know what the truth is. But if they don't want to recognize them, fuck them. It's still the truth. You still ain't gonna change the truth. You can try to whitewash it all you want to. You still cannot change what the truth is.
That's right.
So it is what it is, man. And something else that is what it is this guy right here, YZ, being a legend who's actually has his name etched in stone in hip hop history, whether you like it or not. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Man, you got anything else before we go that you want to promote or you want to talk about?
No, I think we've said it all. But, hey, you know what you could do? Again, if you didn't hear it the first time, go to prideroad.com and pre-order you some tea. I don't care where you are in the world. Pre-order some tea. Pride Road tea. That's it. Pre-order.
Pride Road.
And it reminds me of the Tea Party, but we are growing it ourselves. Please, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do it, but we have a great product. You know, and I know Willie D tells the truth. Like, I wasn't expecting him to sugarcoat anything. But you heard him say out of his own mouth that these products are the truth.
You see what I'm doing, like rotating. And this is what I do in real life. I rotate. This is what I do in real life. I rotate. But that's it, fam. Yeah, go to
prideroad.com, go to waterparty.co, and yeah, go to Pride Road.
Go to prideroad.com.
Yeah, and Water Party.
And waterparty.co.
Waterparty.co.
Okay, water party. It's a tongue twister.
Waterparty.co.
And get you some of it. Support this, fam. These are good products. You know, I like it. It's good products. You know.
We also have Hibiscus Heaven.
Yeah.
You can go to hibiscusheaven.com. Hibiscus Heaven also sells roots and fruits. Remember, we got 13 products. 13.
Mm-hmm. See, all this is good, man. You know, like, see, so that's what I'm gonna do.
I wish I would have brought you some of the juices, bro. Because
we fresh squeeze juices daily.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would work.
Bobby is a king at that too.
Yeah.
He's a king at cold pressed juices. He is a king.
Now, one last thing. Way back in the Gap, when I was aware that you had first came to Houston, you came to a club called Gucci's. And
I remember it.
Was Bobby with you there?
He was.
Okay, cool.
Look, if you saw me, you saw him.
Okay.
And his brother.
Yeah.
And they're both here.
Well, okay, so that's who
remember
you was with.
Pumice,
because I
Pumice,
remember
Sweet Love, and Bobby, Be Fun.
I remember you was comfortable. I was like, he knows he's with somebody from Houston because you was comfortable. You know, you was moving around and stuff. Even when you was in the parking lot, you wasn't like in a rush trying to duck and dodge or whatever. You was comfortable. I was like, yeah, they must be from Houston. Yeah, I remember that.
They from Jersey.
Yeah.
But they live here now. Look, I brought them here, and they stayed here and made a life and created families here. Yo, his brother right now has a huge, huge company called ESI, which is a big securities company. You ever go to like a supermarket and you see those? What are they called, Bobby?
Mobile security trailers.
Those mobile security trailers.
Uh-huh.
His brother is the owner of this company, along with one other guy. They're killing the game.
Yeah, that's dope.
Killing the game. Yeah. And these are my brothers. We grew up together.
Yeah.
And yet we still together. We still love each other. We sometimes we have to love each other from a distance. But and he laughs because he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, ain't nothing ever going to change. Yeah. It is what it is.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah. There it is, man. I appreciate y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, YZ.
Willie D, thank you, brother. Thank you for just being who you are, bro.
And I gotta say, bro, I'm a big fan of the show, bro. I've been watching your show since it came out. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Love
Absolutely.
It. For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. I remember when I was here juicing with him.
Yeah.
With Juice Easy, he would watch your show while we were juicing.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. I see you went through a couple of transitions too.
In regard to what?
Your show.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna talk about it, but it'd
be like that sometimes. But
it's still all love, right?
It's all love.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. No more talk.
Oh, and don't forget to support the album.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the album Morganic.
And all you can do, you can listen to it for free right now. Just go to bandcamp.com, yztheblackbank.bandcamp.com, and it'll come up, Morganic. Please leave your comments. It's free to listen to it.
Morganic. No more talk.
That's right.